Wait, yes, maybe I should put this on there. Let's see. Well, wait a minute.
We're live?
Yeah.
Should be.
Is this microphone on?
Yeah, you're good.
Let's move it. I'm gonna move it.
You can throw it in your pocket or put it wherever you want.
One of these guys.
All right, I'm not gonna know. Oh, there we go. Got a notification. What's up, guys? Hey, we are live with. Let me. I'm just gonna wait until a couple people join before we do too much here, because we are obviously at a kind of a weird time going Facebook Live. Normally we're on Friday afternoons, but we're here with Ari Lehman, who was the first Jason. Played in Friday the 13th, 1980.
That's correct.
So we're going to just kind of have some fun. Ari agreed to hop on, and as he's doing a signing with us. And if you have any questions... There he is. If you have any questions pertaining to Ari's career or anything like that, any question at all, just go ahead and fire. And hey, real quick, let me do a little public service announcement, though, so you don't miss things like this. We have some of these things coming up that we'll be doing. And I don't want you guys to miss it. So let me show you, if you're looking at your screen here, notice here, this is on a mobile, but click it, and then up in the top, click those three little dots. It'll be a little different on desktop, but go to the where it shows a little earth. Make sure you turn on notifications. Mine says turn off because mine are already on. But if you do that, you'll actually get a little text message, a little notification anytime that we go live with things like this. So make sure to do that. And then in addition to that, check out the other links. What do we put on here? We got Ari's for his band, his Facebook. He's on there. He's also on is that his YouTube or his Facebook?
Check out First Jason.
That's his Facebook. First Jason, his band. Make sure to check that out. Give him a follow, and check out his music. He's talented with the what's that?
I play the electric machete, of course, Jared.
Of course.
It's the
Silly me.
It's a keytar that's on a giant machete.
Keytar, that's what I was looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, keytar on a machete.
You knew that.
Yep.
First Jason has just come out with a new album called Lord of the Lake. And we just shot a new music video for our song, Kill for Mother. See, all of these things are phrases that we could write on a Jason mask.
What are you writing now?
Right now we're writing No Lives Matter. Because you know that for Jason Voorhees, he does not discriminate at all. He makes no discrimination. Especially anyone who has trespassed. That's all it takes. All who trespass, their lives must give. The devil avoids me as well because of all the souls I've sent to hell. Put on the mask, take on the task. Jason, kill for mother. These are lyrics from our song. I just normally don't speak in poetry.
Why not? You should.
That would totally distinguish me from other Jasons.
Exactly.
All right, I think I saw some. You saw some questions coming in.
Yeah. So Andrew Reynolds says, "Ari, what's been the most fun thing you've done in your career?"
Well, I can't say that. My gosh. Well, you know what? And I'm glad you asked that question because the most fun thing that I do get to do all the time is to meet wonderful fans of Friday the 13th like yourselves. And, you know, to me, that's what it's all about. It's all about the fans. And, you know, Jason wouldn't be anything without the fans. Every time, they're the ones who bring Jason back to life. So one opportunity, though, that was quite special, took place in Orvieto, Italy, which is in the Umbria region of Italy. And why they asked me to be the one who gives the awards at an award ceremony at this amazing opera house in Orvieto. Now Orvieto, it's like you're looking at a place, like if you see these Renaissance paintings of Italy and you think, well, that must be kind of fantastic the way they painted that. But no, it looks like that. And then Umbria rises up, Orvieto rises up out of the hills like a big wedding cake. And one of the most famous cathedrals in the world is on top there. But also, they had a very special award ceremony. So at that award ceremony, it was run by Ruggero Deodato. Ruggero Deodato, who is the director of Cannibal Holocaust. That's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Now, and he's also a sweet guy. He was my friend, and he's just a great guy. But also at this were Dario Argento and his wife, Mario Bava, Lamberto Bava, Robert Englund and his wife. I mean, it just went on and on and on and on. So here I am in this opera house. So I get there and I say to them, okay, I'm ready. I said, so do you have the script? He said, no script, no script. There's no script. You're just, there's just 14 awards. You will give them out to. And I'm like, what? And they're like, here you're going to be presenting. And they had, the co-presenter who was Italian. And then they had, the lady who brings out the awards and everything. And I'm like, what? So you have a teleprompter, right? No, teleprompter. You just, you give out 14 awards. It'll be fine. So, okay, it's Italy. So we start working. And we get maybe a quarter of the way through. No, break, lunchtime. Okay, lunchtime. So I'm thinking it's like America, just bring me my lunch here. And, we could keep working. And they're looking at me like the total, like, have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Like I was just, pazzo, They're just looking at me like, what? No, it's lunchtime. No. We go to lunch. It was 3 hours.
In the middle of the award show, you said?
No, in the middle of the rehearsal.
Oh,
Dress rehearsal with no script and nothing, and I'm trying to put it all together. And okay, so at the award ceremony, at this little dinner, the mayor of Orvieto is sitting next to me, and then Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. So he's like, I'm sitting between Jason and Fred. And so he proceeds to start talking about everything in the town. We are famous for prosciutto. And he talks about that for 15 minutes. And then he brings plates of prosciutto out. Of course, I'm a vegetarian, so that was lost on me. And then they're like, no prosciutto. They're looking again. I'm like crazy. But so anyway, then it was about the olive oil, then the wine. So I think I had like 5 glasses of wine, which is vegetarian. And so finally they're like, we're going to bring you some spaghetti. So I'm imagining wonderful, like in America where they bring you a big plate. No, they brought this tiny little plate of spaghetti. And I'm like, what? And this is, yes. So I did wake up with a hangover. But the point is that the next morning, or the next night, okay, the curtain goes up and everybody's in tuxedos. It's a balconies, it's an Italian, and I'm like just, and I just threw myself into it, I had made some jokes, I'm like, buonanotte, tutto mondo. I was like, I had figured out some I had spent some time trying to figure out some phrases. So I guess the audience was very giving and, it was kind of funny and everything. And I made it through the award ceremony and it was a great feeling. And then Robert Englund came up to me and congratulated me. And he said, you did a great job. And he said, you had everybody laughing. So,
Nice. Perfect.
That's okay.
Hey, let me throw this out there too. So keep the questions coming and we'll try to get to a handful more before we have to cut this off. But let's do this. We'll send a mask that Ari is signing right now to one person who asks a question. So whether we're able to get to it and answer it or not, throw your question in the comments. And Jordan will go through and we'll send somebody a mask for free. So keep them coming.
Okay. So I got one here.
Else lined up?
Nick Peterson. He said, Ari, have to ask, what is your favorite horror movie other than the ones you were in? So
well, thank you so much. I'm a big fan of Robert Mitchum. And if you know, he was in Night of the Hunter. Night of the Hunter, which was made in the 1950s, directed by Charles Laughton, the only movie directed by Charles Laughton. Okay, Shelley Winters makes her debut in this movie. He's a serial killer. And the reason I like this movie so much is because, it embraces many levels. It's scary, it's deeply scary. But also at points it has moments of redemption and even humor. It's just an amazing American film. And it's the Americanism of it, although made by a British person. This film okay, it talks about an itinerant, he's a fake priest who's a serial killer. And he's going across the country and he's seducing these old widows and murdering them. And it's really, really frightening movie. Night of the Hunter, starring Robert Mitchum. Now, it depends on what era you're talking about too. If you're talking about way, way, way back, like silent movies, I love The Mummy. I love Der Golem. Okay. What movies do I love? Like, how about, do you like The Orphan? Is one of my favorite horror movies. If you were to talk about nowadays, what movie that I would have my eyes open, it would be Terrifier. Terrifier, I think, has really flipped the script in a lot of ways, and I had the opportunity to meet David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown. And I'll tell you that this man is going to be, you're going to be hearing a lot from David Howard Thornton. He's an amazing actor. Now, if you're talking about slasher genre, within my own wheelhouse, as it were, I would say of all of those that are considered, to me, I really like Hellraiser. Okay. Yeah. The type of person I am, I'm drawn to that character. It has the wonderful idea of, retribution and hell and all this complicated, and the wonderful, the whole Clive Barker, the whole way it's presented. But also what I love about it is it's not defined. It's ambiguous. In other words, what's going on? Why does this man come up out of the floorboards where a drop of blood fell, and somehow we can comprehend it? And I even, I really love it. And I think that when you look at even the two sequels, part 2, part 3, I feel are really, really hold up almost more than a lot of other series in terms of their sequels. And I got to talk to Doug Bradley about this. And I said to him, because he doesn't really feel the same way about Friday the 13th. So I said to him, Doug, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I really love Hellraiser. And he said, he took him out and he said, well, Ari, I really love you. And I said, well, thank you. He goes, but, because he was saying he doesn't like Friday the 13th so much, so he was compensating. He was saying, I love you, man, my brother, because don't get me wrong, he has a beautiful wife. I'm just saying, as do I. But he was saying, slasher to slasher. He said, look, what happens in your movie? The cadaver comes up out of the water, and then he's gone. We don't know what happens. Of course, he does become Jason later. But he says, and I thought it was great, in Hellraiser, this cadaver comes up out of the floorboards, asks you for a cigarette, asks you for a drink, and, much more. So he said, therein lies, what made Hellraiser so special.
Yeah, cool. Danny Rogers asked what the audition was like for the Jason gig.
Well, there was no real audition for Friday the 13th. What happened was I happened to be living in the same town as Sean Cunningham. And Sean Cunningham who was the director of Friday the 13th, was actually trying to get away from doing horror. He wanted to do, you guys have heard of the movie Here Come the Tigers? The Bad News Bears. Yeah. Bad News Bears. Well, he did a knockoff of Bad News Bears called Here Come the Tigers. It was a baseball movie about these ragtag bunch of kids, But so then he had this idea. He was going to do a soccer, version of that, which actually was a very well-written movie. Victor Miller, who wrote Friday the 13th, and it was about, again, a ragtag bunch of orphans who win their orphanage back from the mob in a soccer tournament. Okay, so I snuck into the audition. Some of my friends told me, hey, Ari, you're into movies and you can kind of play soccer pretty good. And so what I did was I had to figure out a way. So I took a clipboard in there and I was looking down and I just went like, okay, where's the audition? They're like, oh, it's upstairs. So I was like, upstairs. And I just started walking upstairs, And they're like, wait a second. But I didn't turn around, and I kept going. And they handed me a script, and I read, and they gave me an 80-line role in that movie,
Jeez.
in that feature film. And then they said, we really think you're great. They called me back and everything. They said, so where's your agent? And I said, oh, I don't have an agent. And they were like, even better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if you look, I still have a copy of the contract. And it says, this contract is not valid unless signed by a parent. And it's not signed by my parent. But anyway, so that movie, though, did not go anywhere because at that time, people were not into soccer. Nobody cared about soccer. There's no soccer moms around that time.
Yeah.
So now it's the next summer, and Sean Cunningham calls me on the phone, and I happen to pick up the phone. Hey, Ari, it's Sean. We got another role for you. So I'm thinking, oh, this is like my summer job,
Yeah.
So
the movie's part-time.
Yeah, cool. And he's like, come back down. I'm like, oh yeah, what's going on? He's like, no, you're gonna like it. You get to be a monster. I was like, what? And he's like, can you swim? I say, I can swim. He goes, you got the part. So that's technically how I got to be,
That's sweet.
It's crazy.
But, the real deal there is working together with Tom Savini, working together with Sean, the way they created that scene. First of all, the only scene I was in that was in that script that I read, that scene was just the kid drowns. The original script, it was the mom is the killer, the kid drowns, it was like reverse Psycho. Okay? There was no final scene where he comes up back out. There never would have been Big Jason. But they wrapped it in August. So they called me back in October. Oh, we've got another scene. I said, what do you mean? See, now I had gone home thinking, wow, I'm in this movie where I drown. Amazing. That's really great, I was a little dejected that summer. I was like, wah, wah, wah. I was like, oh boy, I'm in this big movie where I drown. It's like, what? So when he told me, and he's on the phone, he's very good with kids, he goes, you get your revenge. Oh man, that was it.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I get my revenge? What? So there you go.
Here, I saw one that's kind of fun. So Michael Myers or Jason in a fight, in your completely unbiased opinion, who wins that one?
There's no question.
And why?
Well, let's put it this way. What's the difference? I mean, I think obviously Jason. I think Jason is more brutal. But my real opinion is, look, okay, Halloween is about Laurie Strode's perfect world. Let him in. Bring him more stuff to sign. No, it's about Laurie Strode's perfect world. Everything's perfect. It's suburbs. It's about suburbia. It's about suburbia. It's about a deranged person. Okay. He does some really bad stuff. Let's remember, Michael Myers does some really bad stuff. You've got the Donald Pleasance character, that's the amazing, psychiatrist. It's a whole other thing. Okay, so it's this perfect world, and all of a sudden it's not so perfect. But Jason is totally different. With Jason, you're in the middle of the wilderness. You're already screwed.
Yep.
There's nothing's perfect. It's chaos. As soon as the rain starts, she sits down on the beach. She said, I have this dream. Remember Kevin Bacon? He's standing there. He goes, it's going to tear down that valley like a son of a gun. And I'm like, that was the most acting class line ever. But then after his scene with the Speedos, on the, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And, it just gets funnier and funnier. But, I wish I remembered the name of the character. Who remembers the name of the character? The young lady sits down and she says, I have this dream. I call it my blood dream. And she's in the shower and it all turns to blood and the rain comes and then it's just total chaos after that. I don't know if a lot of people realize, okay, there's no soundtrack during most of Friday the 13th. The only time you hear the soundtrack is when somebody's actually singing, like the campfire singers at the beginning, or when there's the killer is present. Harry Manfredini made it so that only when the killer is present is there a soundtrack. So there's a lot of scary stuff going on there. you're in the woods, you know.
But let's throw them both in the gladiator ring though. Michael Myers and Jason.
Okay, I like this.
Who's winning that thing?
Regular rules or prison rules?
Neutral
But
spot.
what? You know, it's
No
like
rules.
a machete versus a knife.
No eye gouging or fish hooking, but besides that.
It's a machete, man. It's a machete and spears, and Jason's just bigger. How can Michael beat Jason?
What is Michael's? What is
Meanwhile,
Michael Myers like?
There is an
Power?
answer.
Is he just like very sneaky?
His
And
mask.
also, you know,
Yeah.
there's some righteousness there too, because Michael Myers supposedly did something very bad to his niece. If you guys know the actual
So
saga.
we're saying Jason's righteous? Is that what we're saying?
Well, he's not exactly righteous. He's righteousness gone awry.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, he comes out of that idea. I mean, Friday the 13th comes out of the Crusader mythos, unless even it happened accidentally. But it's that overly zealous. It's indeed, it's the self-righteousness gone horribly awry. Now that doesn't mean, of course, I don't know. I mean, we're getting kind of philosophical there. So
Yeah, no,
stop.
that's good. That's good. So here's I'm taking over the question.
Yeah, you're
asking.
good.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I saw one that I
See,
kind
you
of
wanted
liked.
to go all brutal and it ended up being philosophical.
I know, right?
What I'm saying is, Jason would hack Michael Myers to pieces. You understand me? With a pen. With a pen. That's all I need. Did I just tear out the? Sorry.
All right,
Oh,
we'll,
good.
we'll discount that mask. No big deal. All right, so this one's probably gonna be hard for you to
That
answer.
scared
'Cause I know
me.
you know a lot of these guys.
guys.
I know you know a lot of these guys, but who do you think played after you played the best Jason in all the Jason?
Oh, come on. You can't do that to me. That's not fair. It all contributed.
Do you have a rank, or are they all? I know they're all a little different. To
Well,
you.
they're all my friends. I mean,
They won't be watching.
What I'm saying is, if you look at it, each one contributed something different. Okay, yeah, okay. You have me. I'm like, the hard rock, heavy metal, little Jason. You know me. Okay, my band, First Jason, all that stuff. So then, God bless him, Steve Dash, who played part 2, the honorable sackhead Jason, who was like, and I love him, and I could say this, he was like the Goomba Jason. He'd be like, Ari, come over here. Hey, he came from New York, and he'd be like, how do you roll with hair like that? Why don't you get a haircut? Ari, please, did the girls even talk to you? Come on, please. And I'm being respectful because I love Steve. He was like that. Okay, and then Warrington Gillette, he was like the Richie Rich Jason. He was like a little stockbroker Jason. Then, of course, you got the great Richard Brooker, part 3, with his whole kind of like his whole almost sarcastic, wise ass kind of like, poof, he shoots with the harpoon gun. He just throws it down like, poof, he throws the chick out the window. He's just like, poof, but also, who was Richard Brooker? Richard Brooker, who also passed away, was a dear friend of mine, and he, who was this person? He started out as an acrobat from South Africa. He developed the act where you are on a motorcycle in a cage and you're going around. Okay,
And that, like,
he
ball
brought
thing,
that
right?
to
Yeah.
England. Then he became a trapeze artist. Then he became a stuntman. Moved to Hollywood. He was a championship polo player who could outplay guys who had 5 horses when he had 1. Okay, because he was so damn good at it. He knew everybody. He directed 10 episodes of Bill Nye the Science Guy. He developed a camera for Gordon Ramsay, the Sizzle Cam. Richard Brooker. He also got a Academy Award for other developments that he did that is just too long to go into. But
Wow.
yeah, no,
Know
he's an
that.
absolute genius. So where are we? Now we're at part 4. We're at part 4. We're at the great Ted White. Ted White, who's still going strong, well into his 90s. The last time I saw him, well, one time I was in Buffalo signing, and somebody picks me up from behind. I'm like, put me down, put me down. He's like, gotcha. And it was like Ted White, and I'm like, what? He's like in his 90s, and he's like, well, Ari, I just got a new pickup truck. I'm going out to Colorado to do some hunting. Because he knows I'm vegetarian. He's goose to me. I'm like, man, that's cool, And then I said, Ted, he's just the best. He's just the best guy. I mean, he was John Wayne's stunt double for 17 years. and he directed many of the big World War II movies and westerns that we all know and love. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
Ted White. And then part 5, you got Dick Whean, who's now in the Levitrad or something like that. Was a great photographer. But okay, and then it's just everybody. And then part 6 is C.J. Graham. C.J. Graham, who was, do you know where he was discovered? He was discovered at Chippendales. Did you guys know that?
That's how I was discovered.
CJ, amazing person, and a big fan fan favorite from part 6. He was not a dancer. He was not a dancer. He was a bouncer. Okay.
Gotcha.
But he was a bouncer, and it was Halloween, and they were it was in L.A. or near L.A. Maybe it was in Vegas. I'm not sure. But he, the wife of the casting director happened to be there and saw him playing Jason, and we found our Jason. Boom, and that's how he was discovered. Yeah, and then we have Kane Hodder, which brings us to Kane Hodder, and Kane Hodder, who if it's not for Kane Hodder, he was a very important person in bringing all these things together. Played 7, 8, 9, and 10. But it's really part 7 where you see them redefine. John Buechler, who sadly recently passed away, redefined Jason. And I love that because you have psychic character. You have psychic Tina versus Jason. And there's all kinds of great things. And then we have Ken Kersinger, who was in Freddy versus Jason. The Canadian Jason. The big, sweet, my buddy, hard partying Ken Kersinger from up in Vancouver, and he's just an amazing person.
What happened in that movie? Who won that fight?
Who won the fight? Of course, Jason.
I don't think I ever saw that.
What is this?
Did Jason really win in that movie?
Jason wins everything.
Wow.
And then Freddy's
that
head.
answers that part.
He cuts Freddy's head off or something, but then the head winks. So it's like, is he still dreaming?
Gotcha. Maybe I gotta see that one.
Well, maybe they're.
Hey, what was your favorite look for Jason throughout the movies?
Part 7.
Part 7?
Part 7 or...
So if you're going to cast a movie today, you just give every one of them their own little part. throw them all in there.
No. There's somebody out there. We'll Jason Momoa. That's our new Jason board.
All right, here's kind of a fun one. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more.
But wait, you see Matthew McConaughey was wearing a Jason mask on Jimmy Kimmel. Obviously, the reason is he wants to play Tommy Jarvis. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Let's do a couple more here real fast. One that I saw that was kind of a fun one is when they filmed your scene in Friday the 13th. What time of year was it? Was the water cold? And then also, like, how many takes did it take to?
Well, that's the
scene
thing.
right?
The first time they did it, it was summertime, and the whole scene there was I just drowned, and the whole thing there, it's kind of funny. Because Jaws came out when I was a kid, so, and my parents were all like, Ari, don't worry, there's no scary monsters out there. Here's a book about sharks. They're not going to eat you. So I figured out my dad was scared of the sharks eating me. So they would go out to eat lunch on the beach, and I'd be like, Dad! They would come over and, Ari, So I would get them all kind of pissed off. And now when I went to film the scene, that's exactly what I did. They said, we want you to drown. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to pretend Jaws is eating me. And we did that once, and they were like, it's perfect! One take! Done. So that was like it. I was like, wow, I knocked that out of the park. Then, that's the whole thing. See, that final scene was not in the original script. The final scene was shot in October. And that's when everybody says, oh, the water was so cold. Now, to me, the water wasn't so cold because I live by the Long Island Sound. I like to swim almost every day. But also, Tom Savini was in waders. I was used to the water. The reason why, it's that poor Adrian, she was in the boat, and then she had to be turned over into the water. So for her, it must have been really cold.
Yeah.
So, it was October. But
so that brought up a follow-up question from Joseph, who's asking Jaws versus Jason.
Jaws versus Jason, it's so obvious. Jaws eats Jason. Jason Voorhees hacks his way through the stomach of Jaws, hacks his way out. Jaws dies.
Perfect. So we've thought about this.
Yep.
What? No, it just occurred to me.
Beautiful.
You heard it here first. Jaws is no match for Jason.
Neither is Godzilla. Same story.
Hey, was it the first movie filmed south of Buffalo, New York?
No.
Scott Fellows says he heard that, but he didn't know if it was true.
No, but that might be a different film. The original movie is filmed in Blairstown, New Jersey. And if you ever go to Blairstown, New Jersey, you go right to the center of town, and it looks exactly like where Annie is walking, and she sees the dog by the gas station. She goes through that little tunnel. The little tunnel's still there. The bridge is still there. But you got to go see my friends, the Irados, who run the Blairstown Museum. The Blairstown Museum is where you get your full value because there's 4,000 Friday the 13th artifacts there for you all collectors out there. They sell my hot sauce there, and there's all kinds of amazing things.
Isn't that camp still active? Like camp, what do they call it? There's a camp there that...
There's a Boy Scout camp. What they did was this is 40 years ago. So about 20 years ago, they changed everything at the camp. All the cabins and everything have been moved. So if you go there and you're trying to look and see Friday the 13th, it's not there. Also, being fair, what they do is they do a raffle where you can maybe win the opportunity to pay $200 to stay there overnight. So my recommendation, if you'd like to do that, then go for that. My recommendation is to go to the Blairstown Museum, which is a 501c3. It's a charity. And they've got 4,000 artifacts that they take really good care of. And, they work together with the camp too, but I'm saying for the general fan, if you don't want to wait and see if maybe, if you just want to go there and I think most days it's free to go there. But like when I was there, there was a long line of fans, but it's never more than, it's probably like $10 to go in there.
Yeah.
And again, it's a real 501c3.
And they can buy your hot sauce.
Yes.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I think probably cut that there. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for the questions, and make sure that you watch First Jason, his band. Join him. Make sure you give him a follow on Facebook. Let him know we sent you, and make sure to bid on some memorabilia. This stuff should hit the auction within the next couple days.
That's right.
Thanks, Ari. Appreciate it, man.
Jason never dies.
Oh.
No,
that was the awkward moment where we just kind of all stand here while Jordan goes to turn off the feed.
For your finest in collectibles, go directly to Pristine Auction. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
They've got horror, they've got sports, they've got NASCAR, anything that NASCAR is a sport. They've got astronauts probably. Do you have astronauts?
We have, yeah.
Astronauts. And also Jason Voorhees.
Beautiful.
Remember that.